Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on this channel. Today I want to do a quick updated Ricoh GR4 wishlist video. I already posted a very long GR4 wishlist video on this channel before, but in this video I want to correct some of the wishes and give Ricoh Imaging an update. So this video is also a message to Ricoh directly. I have sent them an email with all my wishes and it has reached the right people. So who knows what that is going to do for the Ricoh GR4. I think it's kind of too late to ask for new features because I'm pretty sure the camera's already, finalized and maybe they're just working on some details. And at this point in June 2024, I have no idea when it's going to come out and how it's going to look like and what kind of features they put in the GR4. If I knew how the GR4 is going to look like, I would probably not make this video. But I feel the need to correct my original wishlist video and add some new things that I think Ricoh could offer. Even if they already finished the design of the camera, I think I have some ideas that could potentially attract new users who haven't considered shooting with the Ricoh GR before. So yeah, let's just go into it. First of all, I want to give a little bit of a background information for people who are tuning in, who have never seen this channel. I have been using Ricoh GR since 2013. I owned every model that came after that except the GR2 because it's basically a GR1 with Wi-Fi. And personally, to me, the Ricoh GR3 and GR3X have the best design of all the previous Ricoh GRs. I just like how compact it is. I like the rounded corners. I like the grip, the button layout. I could live without this back wheel here. We all know why. Also, I don't really need to use it. I use, aperture priority, shutter priority, and then this wheel for me is absolutely useless. I don't need it. And these little cameras have captured so many memories of my life, so many projects I shot using the GRs. They have complemented also my other professional gear. So I really couldn't ask for more in the next model, except a few minor things. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long, but let me correct some of the things I said in my original GR4 video. And in that video, I said that I would love to see a higher megapixel sensor, maybe like a 40 megapixel sensor, because then we can use the 35mm crop mode or the 50mm crop mode and would get more resolution. But I want to correct that. I think we don't need more resolution because the lens is so amazingly sharp on these Ricoh GRs. You get very detailed and sharp 24 megapixels. And honestly, I think Ricoh just should keep the resolution the same, but maybe make the quality of these 24 megapixels better. For example, increase the dynamic range, or I don't know if they could make it a BSI sensor. I don't know if that is possible because of heat and size, but just increase the overall image quality. When I lift up shadows or shoot in low light, it would be nice to have a little cleaner files, but 24 megapixels is more than enough for me. And I have printed photos, 50 by 70 centimeters, and they look absolutely great. So this is one thing where I changed my mind. Another thing where I changed my mind is the wish for a flip screen, like a tilt screen, a screen that tilts up. Of course, it would be very useful to have one. I would love to be able to, do low angle photography and have the screen flipped up. But my fear is that the camera would then not feel as sturdy anymore. It wouldn't feel as compact. And I think I have a better solution, which will be one of my new wishes coming up, which would solve that problem for me. In general, I wouldn't have anything against a flippy screen as long as they can make it flush to the body and make it very sturdy. And I can live without one because for me, the Ricoh GR, especially here the GR3, when I use it, it really becomes an extension of myself, like my arm. You see, I can do this, I can do this. And for me, this agility or mobility, or however you say it, is what makes the GR so great. I cannot really do this with any other camera because they are too heavy, too big. And this one feels so natural. You can, take a photo with your thumb, with your index finger. You can use your pinky if you want to do that. You can hold it like this and pretend like you're on a phone call. You can use the touch screen. So I love that about the GR, that it's so flexible and you can do these weird dances on the street and take photos very sneakily. So a flip screen would, not really be so beneficial to me because I know the focal length so well, I don't really need to see the screen. And most of the times I can actually see the screen. It's not a huge problem unless, it's very bright outside, but we will get to it. Okay, now to the main event of this video, my two new wishes, the only two wishes I want to ask Ricoh Imaging to implement in the GR4. Let's go. So first of all, I would like Ricoh to shorten the screen blackout when you take photos. You all know when you take a photo that the screen is going to turn black for a quarter of a second or something like that. It is short, but sometimes it's not short enough, right? And most of the times it's not short enough, especially for the kind of photography that I do. What I often like to do is, once I take a photo, keep my finger half pressed so that my focus isn't changing, so I can hold it, and then just keep firing away until I get the right moment or get multiple moments. I don't need a high burst rate, but I would love to be able to just, I mean, I don't know if you can hear it, but this is the fastest I can do, right? Yeah, I would definitely miss less moments if the shutter would be like, you know, like bam, 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 something like that. And honestly, this is the only reason I still bring my bigger cameras when I do street photography or go to some important event, because I know I can get the shot that I need at the right time. And with the GRs, it is a little bit of a gamble. For example, recently I stumbled upon a very important football match of a local Hamburg team, St. Pauli. They just won a game that promoted them into the first league, into the Bundesliga. And it was a very historic event for them because they haven't played in the first league since 12 or 13 years ago. And I happened to be there, and I asked people, you know, what's going on? Because people were outside of the stadium, rushing into the stadium. And I asked the guy, you know, what's going on? And he told me that they just won this game and they're promoted and they want to celebrate it. And everyone is allowed to go onto the football field and have a big celebration, basically. So I just joined them and ran into it, and I had my Ricoh GR3. And it was a great camera for that, but I missed a lot of key moments, like, you know, people crying in front of me. I missed some of those moments just because the camera wasn't quite quick enough. And that doesn't have anything to do with autofocus, because I was using snap focus, but it has to do with the screen blackout. And that's also why I don't want to see more megapixels on the GR, because it might become a little slower in operation. Maybe the write speed of the camera could be improved, or the buffer. And now thinking about it, maybe they could add a setting in the menu, some kind of boost mode, like Fujifilm cameras have a boost mode, and then you get higher frame rates and the viewfinder is faster and stuff like that. Of course, it would come at the cost of battery life, but I think I could live with it if it gets me, you know, the shot that I really want to get. Speaking of battery life, I personally have no issues with battery life. One battery lasts me a day of casual shooting. I bring usually 2 extra batteries. I'm good for the day. Even intense street shooting, absolutely no issue. And the reason is because I keep my camera turned off, and I turn it on when I take photos, turn it off again. Of course, a better battery is always welcome, but it's not really a deal breaker for me. Same goes with the dust issue and weather sealing. I know it's a little controversial, but so many people who haven't used the camera are like, what about the dust issue? I never had a camera fail on me because of dust or rain. I used my GRs in the rain. I use my hand to cover it, or use an umbrella. No problem, no issues so far. Yes, maybe I see a dust particle every now and then when I shoot the sky at f11 or f16, but other than that, I really never see any dust on my sensors. Of course, if you spend a lot of money on a camera, you want to be careful with it, but I don't think you can avoid it. Even on Fujifilm X100V or 6, they also get some dust, you know, and like a Q2, it also gets some dust sometimes. I highly doubt they can make the GR weather sealed. It would be cool, of course, but I don't think they can do it. But to me personally, not an issue. Okay, time for the one feature that I'm most excited about, because I think it has a lot of potential, and that is not even a feature that I want to see in the camera, but it's an accessory that I want Ricoh to make. And that is an electronic viewfinder accessory for the hot shoe. Now let me explain why I think this is a good idea. First of all, we have these optical viewfinders that you can put onto this hot shoe, but the camera isn't communicating to the viewfinder, so you don't really see any information, you just see frame lines, which is fine for casual snap shooting using snap focus. But to be honest, I never really used these viewfinders because you don't really get accurate framing. You know, they look cool on the camera, but I think they're a little bit too expensive for the value that they're offering. And I also don't want to see a viewfinder implemented into the GR, like some kind of pop-up viewfinder or maybe a little optical viewfinder, because it would make the camera bigger. And let's be honest, if we're talking about electronic viewfinders here, how good can the viewfinder be in a small camera like this? You know, if you look at the Sony RX100 line of cameras, they have these pop-up viewfinders. I don't think that's something that I would be very satisfied with. And also the shooting experience using the LCD screen for me is what makes the Ricoh GR so fun to use. I actually really like using the screen, like I said in the beginning, because the camera becomes an extension of you, and you know, you can extend your perspectives by you know, reaching out with your camera. So that's something I really enjoy, and I actually have no issues using the LCD screen. And with all my other cameras, I prefer using the viewfinder, but the Ricoh GR, I think, is, because it's made for snapshot photography, street photography, it has a lot of benefits. For example, if I do this, then people will see me taking a photo, right? But if I do this and look down at my camera, this is a little bit less intimidating. Also, you can touch the screen and take photos like that, which I also often do. So let's say I'm in front of people who are sitting on the bench, I can do this, and they are thinking I'm, you know, changing some settings on my camera, but I'm actually taking photos. You could use your nose or your ear to take photos, so the possibilities are endless. But at the same time, especially on a bright sunny day in summer, I sometimes would like to use a viewfinder just to get a better composition. And the issue I have with using the LCD screen is that I often miss little details, like something small happening in the corner of the frame. I might not see that here because it's so small, and I only see the general composition, but a lot of the fine details and gestures I miss. With my other cameras, with the viewfinder, I don't really miss these little details because I can see them in my viewfinder. So for that, I would really love Ricoh to make an accessory viewfinder, something that I can throw into my pocket or my bag, and then every now and then when I want to use it, put it onto my GR, and then being able to compose and see my framing properly. The other advantage that viewfinders have, especially when you're out taking photos on the street, is that you can hide behind the camera. And that has some benefits because people don't really know where you're looking at, right? But if I use my screen, especially when I want to take photos from up high here, everyone behind me can see what I'm seeing, right? So when I take a photo, they all see when I took a photo and what I took a photo of. But with a viewfinder, that will not happen because only I see what I'm taking photos of. I really would love to have the option to use one if I need to, and then if I don't want to use one, still have a very compact, small camera. And Ricoh has done an electronic viewfinder before with the Ricoh GR. That camera had an accessory viewfinder. And it wasn't that bad, it was a little small, but you could also tilt it up, I think, if I remember correctly. So I know that I'm not asking for something impossible. At the same time, I know it costs a lot of money for research and development and getting the parts and, you know, manufacturing an accessory like that. I can see how Ricoh might be a little hesitant because maybe they think, oh, it might not sell well. So what I suggested to them in my email was maybe make it a limited edition. Even if the price is high, I think people will buy it. People who really want one would buy it. Let's say it costs like 700 euro. I think that's what I told them as my Schmerzgrenze, as my limit, how much I would personally pay for a product like this. I know it sounds stupidly expensive, but imagine a very good viewfinder that, and that's important, will also be compatible with future models. Because then it could be an investment for the future, you know, an accessory that you could use with upcoming GRs, and then make it limited to 1,000 or 2,000 units, and then if they sell out, maybe consider making it a standard product. Man, the light is changing so much. And I have some really cool ideas I want to share with you soon, how they could make a viewfinder that even offers something unique, something different than other manufacturers are doing. But first of all, I want to share some specs, my minimum required specs for an electronic viewfinder. So in terms of resolution, I think I can live with a 2.36 million dot viewfinder if the magnification is good, but ideally I would see a 3.6 million dot viewfinder. That would be nice. Magnification should be at least 0.62 times or higher. I'm basing this off of my Fujifilm X-S20, which I think is a totally acceptable viewfinder for the size, and I could probably live with a viewfinder for the GR with similar specs. The EVF refresh rate should be at least 60 frames per second. Everything higher is probably overkill. And then very important is not so much the pixels, but the quality of glass that they use for the viewfinder. For example, the EVFs of Nikon or Leica cameras are often very good, even though the resolution is not that high, because they use very clear glass. Yeah, optics are more important, I think, than pixels. So now let's talk about the form factor, because that's also important, right? If you stick a big chunky EVF on this camera, maybe it doesn't balance right anymore, even though I use a big as lens hood here, and this optical viewfinder is also very big. But I think even if the external EVF is a little big, most people won't mind it, because I carry 2 GRs with me. One is on a wrist strap without any accessories, and one, like this one here, has a lens hood, and then I wouldn't mind having a viewfinder on top. It wouldn't really add to the bulk. I know it kind of defeats the purpose of a small compact camera to rig it out like that, but because the GRs are such great tools, they are capable of very professional results. So, and this is still much smaller than my other cameras. Okay, back to the form factor. I have some ideas of how this could look like. Let me step back a few steps. So here I'm going to show you now some example EVFs that already exist. The one I like the most is probably the Nikon 1 V3 external EVF. I think it looks pretty cool. I like that the eye cup is round. I like the overall shape of it. It sticks out a little bit, which is fine, but it shouldn't stick out too much. And then it has a little button on the left side, which I guess is for switching the EVF off and switching between LCD and EVF. And for that, I also have some suggestions. For example, a button like that on the viewfinder, yeah, it makes sense, but maybe make it customizable, and then also make the other custom buttons on the camera body able to turn off and on or switch between viewfinder and LCD, because I don't really use this movie record button on the side. But let's say I'm using this external EVF and I have the camera set to only use the EVF. It would be really cool if I want to use my LCD screen, instead of pressing a button on the EVF, I would then press this button on the side real quick, and then I could use my LCD screen, press it again, and then I'm in viewfinder mode. I don't think we need like an eye sensor so that it switches automatically. I think that just takes too much time, and it could be annoying if you use a strap. And then maybe this button could also be set to zoom in into the image, so you can check the focus or something like that. Other viewfinders that I think we can look for inspiration is yeah, the Ricoh VF2. This is the viewfinder they use for the GXR. Also not a bad size. Then there's also one from Canon. It also looks decent. It sticks out a little bit too much in my opinion, but it has a little adjustable ring, which is probably to adjust the diopter, the eye diopter value, which is also something that definitely I want to see, because I'm short-sighted a little bit. And then I have some cool ideas that might not be possible because I'm not a technician, but I think it would actually enhance the experience. I think this external EVF should be able to connect to the camera via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, but I think Bluetooth makes more sense. And it should connect automatically. Maybe you can set it in the menu that the camera recognizes the EVF once it's on the hot shoe. And the reason for that is, let's say you're out taking photos with your viewfinder, and then you want to take a photo very low angle or very high, or put your camera into a garbage can or whatever, I don't know. And then in this instant, you cannot really see what the camera is seeing, because you cannot be physically in front of the EVF and you cannot really see what's on the screen. Then how cool would it be if you can just take the EVF off, put it right in front of your eye, and then you would actually see what the camera is seeing. Imagine you could, shoot like this.
Come back to reality, please.
I mean, I can see so many potential use cases for it, like especially for street photography, right? Let's say you're in the train or somewhere, and you have the viewfinder on your eye. You can see what your camera is seeing. Then you can, take photos of, under the skirt. I'm just kidding. Don't blame the technology, blame the user. But it would be such a cool experience. And yeah, we can do that with our smartphone, right? We can connect the camera to the smartphone, but it takes a little bit of time, and you can't really see your smartphone in bright daylight as well. So I think this is the way, Ricoh. And I don't know if this is technically possible, but maybe you can explore it. Yeah, what do you think? I think this is kind of awesome. I would love to be able to walk around like this, check my image, check my focus, and you know, then you never have to hip shoot again without seeing what the camera's seeing. Or you could have your camera on your neck and, you know, rock around like this, point the camera in whatever direction, or have the camera. Yeah, of course, you could also take selfies then. You know, you could put it somewhere, frame your shot, you can see if everything is okay, and then you take a photo. Ooh, maybe there's even a button, or this button on the side could be customized to take a photo. Then you could actually release and take a photo by pressing a button on the viewfinder. I don't know, does it make sense? Is it even possible? I think the challenge will be delay then, because of course, if we would have to send a video signal from the camera to the viewfinder wirelessly, then yeah, there will be a little bit of delay, but I think we can live with it if it enables us to, you know, get different perspectives. And maybe the viewfinder could go into a lower resolution mode or a lower refresh rate, let's say 30 frames per second, and the resolution is cut in half. Maybe then we have less lag. So I think technically there might be some ways to do it. I don't know, but I really would like to see it, because the GR is such an extension of my body when I use it. It makes sense that it actually becomes my eye. By doing this, it would actually become my eye. I need to do a pose for my thumbnail, maybe something like this. Ah, ooh, ooh. I don't know, there should be something in it that I can use. Yeah, let me know in the comment section how you like this idea. If you really want to see an external EVF, let us know, because by letting me know in the comment section, you will also let Ricoh know. So after filming this video, I had a chat with Sam Stone about this idea of an EVF, and then he actually suggested a way better solution, and that is an optical viewfinder that has a readout for the meter, which means you would always know if you are overexposed or underexposed, which makes more sense than an EVF because it probably draws way less power. And then if they could also include a parallax shift correction, oh my. So yeah, a very logical solution. So I wanted to include it here. Ricoh, maybe you can do both, pretty please? I think it makes sense, because a lot of people are not buying the Ricoh GR because it doesn't have a viewfinder. So they go for an X100 or a totally different camera, which is totally cool. I think they're missing out on the experience using an LCD screen on the Ricoh. I think it's a lot of fun, it makes sense, but some people are not open like that. So by offering a viewfinder that they can buy for the GR, maybe we can also get a few more people into this system. I think it makes sense to expand this model and make it a little bit more versatile by using these add-ons instead of making a completely new model, because, you know, we're used to this small form factor, and I don't think we want to see a bigger GR. Me personally, I would not like to see a bigger camera, because then I can buy a Fuji. Okay, so Ricoh Japan, if you watch this, maybe consider trying to work on one. Let me know if you need any help. I would love to help with my limited knowledge, but it could be so cool, and I would actually buy a viewfinder like that if it exists, and I'm sure a lot of people would also. Yeah, other than that, I really like the design. I would actually be totally cool for Ricoh to keep this design if they can just improve, you know, this back wheel and maybe change it. But, you know, the design I love so much, so I'm actually kind of scared to see what they come up with, because I don't know how they could make this design any better. And maybe we should quickly mention flash, because some people really want the flash back. I think they should also come up with a small flash accessory. Makes more sense to me, I think, because yeah, size. I really like the stabilized sensor, so I want to keep that. I don't want to go back to a non-stabilized sensor and then have a flash. Maybe an accessory flash from Ricoh, from Pentax. I know they have a small one, but it's not really that small, and it has a little bit of a lag. I think this is the way to go for them, to create accessories for the camera that can enhance the shooting experience. Yeah, I want to see this become a reality, and then I can be a happy photographer. I'm already a happy photographer, but I could be an even more happy photographer if I could do this. Okay, thanks for watching, guys, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's see what will happen. I have no idea, but yeah, I really look forward seeing what's coming next. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye. I think it would be very sad if Ricoh would not continue offering a 40mm equivalent field of view option alongside the 28 because I love it so much, and I don't want to be limited to just 28 again. Although 28 is very versatile, but at the moment my heart photographs photos in 40mm.
Always in the heart of photographer. GR.
ありがとうございました。お願いします。